It's hot outside, gamers. Stay hydrated. So this year, I'm doing something that I haven't done before. This year is the first year that I have been participating in Art Fight. And so far, it's been going pretty good. I've done about 5 attacks for people, and I've been attacked like 20 times. But with the attacks I have done, I think that's all the inspiration I needed to do Redesigning Sonic OCs Part 9! That's right, y'all. We're back finally with another part of redesigning your Sonic OCs. If you guys are new to the series, basically the way it works is you guys submit your Sonic OC, I tell you what I like, but I also tell you what I might change about their design. And then I redesign your Sonic OC based on those changes that I would make. Like I mentioned, this is part number 9. And if you have not seen any of the other parts, I have a whole playlist on my channel where you guys can check them all out. Also, in the past, we've usually done 4 Sonic OCs per video. However, at least for the time being, I have decided to drop it down to 2 per video, mostly because these videos usually take the longest for me to make, and I know how much you guys really love them. So hopefully this way I'll probably not get so burnt out that I can actually work on some more of these a bit more frequently and not keep you guys waiting for like 5 months after each part. But with that being said, we have 2 new characters that are up for redesigning. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, our first character comes from David, and they have submitted their Sonic Sona. This is his final design, but I'm not really happy with it, nor the idea of him being a manned wolf. He's a human from a virtual dimension that no-clipped into Sonic's universe, turning him into a Mobian. He's about 4'2" and a big fan of blue and stars. I will say, even though you're not a fan of the manned wolf design, this actually is pretty solid to start off with. I like this sort of like futuristic sort of fruitager arrow shade of blue that you use for your character. The outfit's pretty cool too, and I also really like the little cuffs that you added also. I guess if you're not happy about your Sona being a manned wolf, then if I could suggest a different species, I might go with possibly a lynx, just because the hair as well as the fur color kind of reminds me a lot of Nicole the lynx from the Archie comics. Maybe we could try turning your Sona into that and maybe seeing how it looks. I think we might also change the outfit a little bit. I think since your Sona is a fan of stars, and since you have this digital star emblem here, I think if we incorporate that into the outfit somehow, I think that could be a cool thing that we do. I don't know if this is also because of the lighting or not, but it looks like there's these like little like gradients that are like on the fur here and also on like the tips of the ears. I think it's cool to use gradients with clothes, but in terms of like the actual fur color, I'm not the biggest fan of that. If we were to add these colors as part of the fur color, I would probably do it as like some sort of like, I don't know what you would call it, like accent shape, where instead of it being like a gradient like this, it's just like a solid color basically. It'll probably make sense once I sketch it out. So let's start sketching, and also let's see if I think of anything else as I'm sketching as well. One thing I also really liked about your character too is these little markings here on the muzzle, as well as like the face between the eyes and next to the eyes and stuff like that. So I definitely want to keep that, and we'll probably keep it blue. I might maybe make it kind of a similar brown shape to the muzzle, just because I feel like it'll match better, but we'll cross that bridge once we get to coloring. I think also, since we're gonna try the lynx route, it might be cool if maybe we add some little tufts of fur on the side of the muzzle like this. And then of course we'll also add the side fur right here. I don't know if I'm gonna make it as big as the original, but probably around the same size. So now the outfit. I think what we can do, we can keep it a t-shirt. I didn't have a problem with it being a t-shirt. So maybe instead of having these squares here, why don't we add this sort of digital star shape? Wow, I drew the star so unevenly. All right, this looks a little bit better. Let's go with this. And then it looked like it had like a little upside down triangle here. I think now that I'm looking at it, something like this design with this sort of shape, it might be just better if there's only one of them. So I'm probably just gonna have this one just be the single one that we use. Let's try moving it over here. Let's make it a little bit bigger too. Yeah, so there we go. There's his little digital star that we're gonna use. And I kind of like how the outside was sort of white like that, so we'll keep that. Might have to make the logo a little bit smaller, just a tad bit, just a teeny weeny tad bit, around like right there. I think that should work. Now for the shoes, I do like how the original shoes look. I might try it though, where instead of having this many laces, I might make the laces a little bit thicker. Maybe just have like one cross of laces. At least in my opinion, I think thicker laces tend to look a little bit nicer with Sonic characters, or just characters that have big feet in general, like Sonic characters do. One lace will kind of cross over like that, and then the other one will just kind of go like that. I kind of like the tall socks. We can keep the tall socks here. Now drawing the shoe from this angle is going to be a bit of a pain, but I'm going to try my best. And obviously we will add in the gloves, the cool metallic-y blue cuffs. And then I also do kind of want to keep the bracelet. I thought the bracelet was kind of cool. I think we might just keep it as like rectangle, circle, just to make it easier if people, you know, like me, decide to redraw this character. I think it could be, you know, just easier to remember the pattern. Instead of having it be sort of like this fingerless sort of, well, not like fingerless, but like instead of having like these lines here, I want to do something kind of like Nicole's gloves, where it's kind of like one side of the glove is one color and then the other side is like a different color. So I think that could actually be kind of a cool thing that we could do with this character also. I've just always kind of liked gloves that sort of do this. I know I do it with my own Sonic OC, so I might be a little biased, but I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. Also, I'm doing something which I have never done in a previous redesigning Sonic OCs part, and that is I'm actually going to do a little reference of what the inside of the hand looks like, just because what I thought might be kind of cool, and I couldn't really show this with this specific pose that I chose for this character. I thought it also might be kind of cool if the digital star was also on the inside of the gloves, kind of like how Silver has like his little ring design on the inside of his gloves. So now the design can be both on the shirt as well as on the inside of the gloves, which I think would be pretty cool. I'm also looking at the digital star logo now, and I kind of want to try something. I kind of want to see if maybe we can redesign this digital star logo, like maybe even make it even more minimal than it already is. Like, what if maybe we do something kind of like this, where like we kind of take away like the connecting lines almost, and do something kind of like this. That could be kind of cool. And then maybe instead of an upside down triangle in the middle, maybe it's like a diamond, maybe. Kind of like that. That looks kind of cool, right? I don't know. I think just like the way the shapes are kind of like disconnected like that, I don't know. It just kind of looks a little cooler to me, in my opinion. So I think I'm actually going to do that. We're going to go with this as like a new digital star shape. So we're going to put it on the gloves, and we're going to put it on the shirt. Just like this. And of course, we got to make sure he's got his glasses. He definitely has to see. Shout out to all my visually impaired Sonic OCs out there. We got to stick together. We got to make sure that we can see. All these normies thinking that they're cool, that they can see without their glasses. We got to stand up for each other, man. We got to look out for one another. Of course, what's the point of even wearing glasses if you don't even have your pupils? So kind of have to draw those in. That's kind of important. I kind of also want to add a little bit of thickness around the eyes right here, really for no other reason than I think it might just look a little bit cooler. And then we'll add the little markings, because I did really like those. One right there, and we'll do one right here. And since he's a lynx now, we're gonna give him his more lynx-like ears with some markings here, as well as a little bit of fur at the top right here. And then of course we cannot forget about the tail. And Link's tails are actually kind of short and stubby compared to other big cat tails. I was actually kind of surprised when I first found out that a Link's tail was actually as short as it was. I was kind of surprised. For some reason, I just imagined them having like a lot longer of a tail, like a tiger or something, but nope. They're just short and stubby, kind of like this. Maybe we'll add like a little bit of like an extra color right here. Also, I decided to not go with this sort of big chest fluff right here. I just thought it might make the design look a little bit more clean with not having just this giant ball of floof on the chest right here. Plus, we're already adding in some extra floof on the ears and like on the muzzle and stuff like that. So I didn't want to go too overboard with the fur. But now I think we are ready to outline and color it. So let's do that now. All right, we have finally finished outlining. So now let us begin the coloring. I like this color for the hair, and I think we're also going to have it be the same color as these top parts of the ear right here. And then let's try this really like light color here, and let's see how that looks for these markings right here. I kind of like that. I think let's go a little bit darker. Let's try like this color. Okay, that really made no difference. All right, let's try this. Okay, I think this might be the way to go. I'm actually wondering if maybe for the gloves, what if we go with sort of more like a dark blue? That could be kind of cool. Maybe even like a little bit darker, like maybe something like that. And then the reverse side can be white. I think that might look kind of cool. We'll keep the outside of the shirt white for now as well. And then maybe we'll keep this sort of like green and blue like hybrid thing for the star. So like this part could be green, and then these could be blue, but then that kind of blends in with that. What if I go with that previous like really light green for the shirt? That could probably, maybe, I don't know. Why is my voice getting this high? We might come back to the star in the middle, but for now let's move on to the shoes. And I think what I might do for the shoes, I might do something like this, and then since I realized we didn't add the shorts with the outfit, I wonder if maybe we use that color for this part of the shoe here, and then we can just make like the bottom sort of like a gray color like shoes usually are. It also makes me wonder if maybe, what if instead of dark blue, maybe it's this color? Oh wait, hold on, wrong color. This color, and then maybe we change the cuffs to be like this teal color, maybe. Or what if maybe we do dark, and then what was that blue that we just had? We'll do this for the gloves maybe. I just don't want to have like too many different shades of blue. Like I just want to make sure there's a little bit of consistency. It also makes me wonder, maybe what if the shirt is a dark blue? And honestly, it makes that digital star stand out more if this is dark blue. So I might do that. I think we'll go back to what we had originally, where these are going to be the light blue, and then the actual gloves themselves will be the dark blue. Yep. Me likey. We're going with that. You know it's good when I start going, yup, that's the one right there. And then we might go for the inner ear something like maybe like a darker brown, something like that. Almost makes me wonder, now that I look at it, maybe, since I actually wonder if maybe I should flip the color of the gloves around maybe. Let's try that real quick. Hold on. Ooh, that actually looks a little cleaner. I kind of like that a bit more. I think we're going to do that instead. I kind of like it. I think it just makes the star stand out a bit more. I'm actually also going to add a little bit of outline color here, just because I think it might look kind of cool. And I almost forgot to color in the bracelet. That wouldn't have been good if we forgot about that. And then I think this is what we're going to go with for the final redesign. So just to kind of recap what we did, I know in David's description, he said he didn't really feel that cool about the manned wolf idea. So we turned him into a lynx. And we gave him some more Lynx-like features, like a different tail. We kind of changed the ear design up a little bit. We also kind of switched up the colors a little bit. We added more of a dark blue for the shirt. We also got rid of the shorts as well. We also switched up that digital star a little bit. I think keeping the same shape, but also maybe just adding a little bit of color and kind of separating these shapes out a little bit. Just kind of, I don't know, just kind of looks a little cooler in my opinion. I thought it was also good to incorporate more of this digital star into the outfit just because it didn't really look like it was in the outfit at all in the original. So we definitely wanted to add that in as like a symbol. And overall, I think this is kind of cool. So David, hopefully you like it. Hopefully it kind of inspires you in case you go for another redesign. You guys can also let me down in the comments below how you think I did. And let's move on to our next character. All right, our second character comes from Luminexus, and they have submitted Scorch the Crocodile. And I think this is pretty cool. My favorite character is Vector, so it's honestly pretty cool to see people try and make Sonic OCs kind of modeled after him. And just seeing Reptile OCs in general also is pretty cool to see. I feel like it's a very underrepresented group in the Sonic OC Animal Kingdom. We definitely need more reptiles. You guys can pause and read the whole backstory if you want, but the part that kind of stuck out to me the most was this part talking about Blaze supposedly letting out a big blast that hits him by mistake. And that's apparently how he got his color palette. Because apparently he used to be like a light teal, but this blast apparently changed him to orange and gave him this orange and yellow look now. And apparently that's why he goes by Scorch now also. Apparently he used to go by Blake. And that also is apparently how he got his fire powers as well, which is pretty interesting too. The reason why I say that part stuck out to me the most is because I kind of want to try something where instead of it kind of being like a permanent change to his color, what if maybe part of his original teal color palette is still like partially visible? Like maybe there's like a blotch of teal maybe on like his hand or his arm still, and maybe he wears like one of his gloves to sort of cover it up. Like maybe that could be like a cool thing to incorporate in the backstory. Maybe like every once in a while, like whatever blast he got hit with, like maybe those powers kind of wear off after a while and it kind of like starts to bring back his old like teal color palette. And then maybe like somehow, some way, like maybe he needs to get hit by a blast again, or maybe there's like a way to like harness whatever energy was made of that blast, and maybe he uses that energy somehow to sort of keep the orange and make less of the teal appear, or like make more of the teal go away. I don't know. The point is, I think that idea could kind of be cool, and I kind of want to run with that and see how it looks. I also kind of want to change the outfit up a little bit. He kind of has this like sort of rugged biker rock star sort of aesthetic, so like maybe I'll try something where the sleeves of this tank top might be a little bit more distressed. Maybe I'll try giving him like some like boots or something that have more of like an edgier look to them. But I don't know. We'll try a couple different things. But for now, why don't we get to sketching and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I also want to say that this is probably the first crocodilian Sonic OC that I'm redesigning. So Luminexus, shout out to you for being a first on this channel. I've definitely redesigned reptile OCs in general in the past, but I don't think I have ever done like a crocodile redesign before. So this should be pretty interesting. It also gives me an excuse to brush up on my Mobian crocodile anatomy as well. It has been a hot minute since I've tried drawing Vector, so this is some much needed practice if you ask me. I also really like the bandana that the original one had as well. I don't know if this was their intention or not, but it was almost like kind of a nod to Wave, who is also one of my other favorite Sonic characters, mostly because her drip is immaculate. One of the better drips in the Sonic roster, in my opinion. Now, this is the hand that I kind of want to have be the one where we kind of see a little bit of the teal sort of poking out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Then we'll draw the elbow here. And yeah, maybe it's just kind of like a little blotch right there. Then maybe it kind of also pokes out a little bit there as well. I think that could be kind of cool. And then I think for the glove, instead of having it be fingerless like in the original, I kind of want to do, I don't know, it's kind of like I guess you could say it's kind of like a biker glove where like it kind of has like this sort of like Velcro strap sort of thing that kind of comes around like this. Like it'll do that, and then maybe it kind of looks like this. Maybe we'll add like a few little metal studs, you know, make them a little edgy, you know, a little hot topic, a little because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you. The tank top, I'm imagining, is going to come down kind of like this, and drawing tank tops on body types like this is kind of tricky. I have to kind of think back to what I did when I drew Y2K Lasai to get this the way that I want it to. And then yeah, so like then for the sleeves, since we're going to kind of go for like a more like distressed sort of look, I guess it would kind of look sort of like this a little bit. Actually, let me draw the rest of the arm first. That might actually kind of help out a little bit here. Yeah, so maybe it just kind of looks sort of like this a little bit. Yeah, maybe something kind of like that. Like that kind of makes sense. Let's draw the other arm also on the other side now. And again, it'll kind of have like that strap on the back side, but obviously because of this angle, you wouldn't really see it, but it would be coming around the back like that. Maybe I'll just add like a little stud right there so you can tell that that's supposed to be there. I might also do a thing where like it's kind of like ripped at the bottom, like right here. And maybe just add like a little hole right there. And we'll draw the rest of the tail coming around like this. And now for the footwear. Like I said, I kind of want to go for a bit more of like a biker sort of leather boot kind of aesthetic as opposed to what we have over here. So I might give him kind of sort of like what Tumble the skunk has for boots. Tumble sort of has like this thing where like there's like a little bit of something going on here, and I think there's like a little bit of a tongue here, and then it kind of comes down, and there's like a little bit of a heel at the bottom here, and then there's like a big sort of like blocky sort of front piece right here. Yeah, kind of something kind of like this. And then let's do that for the other boot as well. Okay, I'm kind of liking this so far. I like it, Picasso. And then instead of going for like just a flame logo, I kind of want to try something that I think would be kind of cool looking. I don't know how well I'm gonna pull this off, but we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it, see how it looks. I want to do like a skull with like flame eyes. Oh my god, this is like taking me back to like middle school, being all edgy like this. And then it's gonna be like a crocodile skull, so it's gonna kind of come down like this, and then I like some like fangs right here, like down here, and then down here, and maybe like add like some nostrils, and then maybe like the whole thing is like on fire too. Okay, I might be going a little too far with this whole, but hold on, I kind of want to see how it plays out. Yo, honestly, low genuinely, this is going kind of hard. Let me just move this down a little bit so that I have some more room to add like some more flame at the top. Yo, come on. You can't tell me that doesn't look hard. Come on. All right, we're almost done. All we're just missing now are the spikes along the tail, and let's just add the eyes right here. Oh yeah, this dude is looking so cool right now. And then since he can control fire, I kind of want to do as like a little nod to a little known power of vectors where he can breathe fire. I kind of want to add like some like little fire wisps sort of coming out of his nostrils here, either smoke or fire, whichever one. I might lean towards fire, honestly. Oh, and then one thing that I also thought was cool with the original was the cool sort of flame marks on the side of the eyes right here. So we're definitely going to add that. I know when we do color it though, I would make this a little bit darker to sort of stand out from the orange a bit better, just to, you know, give it a little bit of pop, because, you know, it's kind of like a cool design thing. I honestly might make it the same red as what the bandana was, honestly, to make it stand out a bit more. But I think we are ready to outline and color this, so why don't we get to it? Alrighty, now that the outline is done, let us get started on our coloring. I really like the orange and yellow color palette. It's very reminiscent of my Snake Sona, which I'm pretty sure this OC came out before I made my Snake Sona, but still, it reminds me of it, and I think it's pretty cool. We'll keep the same gray for the gloves. I think I might make the strap part a little bit lighter of a gray, something kind of like that. And then for like the little studs, we'll do just like this sort of light, sort of off-white. I think that'll be good. And then maybe for the boots, let's go with sort of like a darker color like this. And maybe lighter right here and here. Something kind of like that. And then obviously the top of the bandana here will be that gray. And then here is where I was talking about, where we bring back a little bit of his old sort of teal looking color palette. I don't know exactly what shade of teal it used to be. I'm going to assume it kind of looked something sort of like this. So we're going to go with that. And I'm just going to add a little bit right there. Add a little bit over here. Maybe add like a little blob right there. So there. And then we can just kind of assume that maybe like the rest of his hand is kind of like this tealish color too. And then actually, do I want that to be red or do I want that to be white? I think we might make it white. We're going to keep it white. We'll go with that. And then, like I said, we're going to add some like little flame thingies coming out of his nostrils here. And then why don't we'll add like a little bit of yellow on the inside as well. Just kind of like right there. And we'll do the same for the other flame over here. Do kind of something like that. And then I might do kind of like a little outline color thing, kind of like the last character with this middle graphic here. Let's make it like a red. Okay, and I think this is what we're gonna go with as our final redesign. So we didn't really change a whole lot. Like I said, the main thing I really wanted to change was making it so part of his teal could still kind of creep through, and that maybe this orange firepower thing kind of wore off after a while. So I think having it so that he's wearing gloves that sort of like can cover that up a little bit, again, I think is kind of cool from like a lore perspective. Also, I wanted to make the markings near his eyes more of like a red shade, just to kind of help it stand out a little bit more. I also changed up the graphic on the tank top a little bit, made it a little bit more like rip sleeves, gave him some more boot-like footwear as opposed to his other footwear. And overall, I think it kind of gives him like a kind of cooler, edgier look, and also I think in general just looks pretty cool. So thank you, Luminexus, for submitting Scorch, and you guys can let me know down in the comments below how you think I did. This one was definitely a really fun one to work on, for sure. And there you go, another redesigning Sonic OCs in the books. If you want to submit your Sonic OC for one of these videos, I have a channel in my Discord server, which I'll leave a link to in the description down below. You guys can submit your Sonic OCs there. You guys can also submit your Sonic OCs on my community page. Just make sure in your post at the beginning you put redesign me, just so I know that you're looking to get it redesigned. Check out this playlist right here to watch all of the other parts of this series, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe, turn on that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member, and as always, stay cool, stay creative, because I'm Jay Creative.